Aloha everybody, this is Gigi from Kauai Community College. This is a video about the chain rule, how to use a chain rule to take the derivative of a function. Okay, so let's take a look at, if you are in my class, this is the blue cards and this is number 20. All right, so calculate the derivative of y equals to e to the x plus 1. And as soon as I see e to the x plus 1, it's not just a normal e to the x. So I'm thinking there's a chain rule applying there. Multiply by, and when I say multiply by, I am having a product rule. By what? By sine of x to the third. And it's just not straight x sine of x. So it has to also have a chain rule applied to that. So here we have a product chain. All right, here we go. The derivative of y with respect to x is product rule will guide our process here. Okay, so the derivative of the first, which would be e to the x plus 1 multiplied by the inside derivative, which is 1. And, you can ask me, well, do you really need to write that 1 there? Not really, but I do want to write that there just so that I can remember that there was a chain rule applied there. And that's sort of a practice that I always use so that I remember chain rule is always there, no matter if you're applying the product rule, the quotient rule, or just take the derivative of a basic function with a composite function in it. All right, so here we go. The derivative of the first multiplied by the second, which would be sine of x to the third. Too many parentheses there, so I'm going to just go ahead and erase this one parentheses on the front and say that is multiplying plus the derivative of the second function, which would be cosine of x to the third, the way it is, multiplied by the inside function, which is 3x squared. So that's the derivative of the second function, multiplied by the first function, which is e to the x plus 1. Okay, so the product rule said derivative of the first times the second plus the derivative of the second multiplied by the first. That's the product rule. Okay, so that is what we just used to take the derivative of that function. And then we apply the chain rule for each of those derivatives. Now, what can you do with that? You can clean that up and make it look a little bit nicer. So dy dx is equal to, we're looking at e to the x plus 1 multiplied by sine of x to the third plus 3x squared e to the x plus 1 multiplied by cosine of x to the third. And what can you do further? If you really want to, you could factor out x e to the x plus 1 because that's what's in common, and that will leave you with sine of x to the third inside plus 3x squared cosine of x to the third inside. And that is my final answer. Now, question is, do you have to factor that e to the x plus 1 out? I don't really care. It's up to you. But I think it's kind of nice to see that as a product.